Okay guys, so this tablet is not my favorite to use, so you're going to have to kind of be patient with me while we go through this at the beginning. Alright, so here's your notes, and you should have kind of your own copy, right, that you kind of look around with, maybe if this thing will do what I'm asking. There we go. Okay. So your goal today is to be able to factor trinomials, and you don't have to worry about GCS. So remember, I normally would give you something like this, right? And I would ask you to multiply it out, right? I'd ask you to distribute. Your goal today is to figure out a way that I could give you standard form, so something like x squared, an ugly x, plus 3x, I'm trying to make sure it comes out okay, plus 4. That would be standard form. I could give you something like this, and you could tell me what it used to look like in factored form before somebody multiplied it all out. So right here, at the beginning, is I'm asking you to distribute this binomial to this binomial to simplify it and put it in standard form. I'm going to show you one, because my real goal here is for you to see a major pattern. And if you don't distribute right, you're not going to see the pattern. So if I do x times x, I'm going to get x squared. If I do x times a positive 3, I'm going to get plus 3x. I'm just going to change colors just because now I'm going to be dealing with the second part of that binomial. So 2 times x gets me plus 2x. And then 2 times 3 will get me plus 6. I don't know what's going on there. That was supposed to be an x. I'm sorry. Alright, so I'm going to combine like terms here, and I'm going to come up with a simplified polynomial in standard form. So x squared would come first. Oh my goodness, the degree is larger there. And then I would combine, like, that's 2. Oh my goodness, I told you I'm not good with this tablet. So I'm going to put the 3x and the 2x together for a total of 5x. I added those. Oh my gosh, what is happening? And then that plus 6 is just hanging out by itself. So I'm just going to put plus 6. That, as horrible as the writing is my simplified polynomial. You should be able to go from factored form to standard form already. You took a quiz over it. Today I'm asking you to go backwards from standard form to factored form. So take a minute, do these out, put them in standard form like I just did here. I want you to do this one, I want you to do this one. So pause the video and do that. I'm hoping when you did this out, for an answer here, you got x squared minus 10x. Sorry, it keeps jumping like that. Plus 24. I'm hoping over here, when you took the time to do it, because we all know it's way different when the teacher does it for you than when you do it yourself. It stays in your brain much more when you do it. I'm hoping you got x squared plus 3x minus 10. Okay, the real takeaway here, there's something new, should be, I'm just wondering if you see a pattern. Specifically, do you see a pattern in this first term? So pause, make sure you found it. For me, in the first term, I see that the first term is always x squared. First has an S, sorry. First is going to be x, oh my goodness, squared. Oh my gosh, I'm going to stop. So, the next one, if I can erase that. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm sorry. The next one, let's see if this messes up. Okay, I'm wondering, what do you see in a pattern between the two numbers in the middle term? What did you do to 2 and 3 to get 5? What did you do with negative 4 and negative 6 to get negative 10? Because that's what that ugliness is supposed to be. What did you get with a negative 2 and a positive 5 to get negative 3? Take a minute, think about it on your own, pause the video. I'm hoping that you were like, oh, to get the middle term, let's write this here, to get the middle term, I added those numbers. I want you to take a second, and I want you to look at how those two numbers, the 2 and the 3, relate to this 6. How do the 4 and 6, negative 4, negative 6, relate to this positive 24? How does this negative 2 and negative 5 relate to this negative 10? So again, think that through. Come back when you got something. Okay, so for me, I see that when I add those two numbers in the binomials, which is a 2 and a 3, when I look at those two numbers, if I multiply them, I get 6. If I multiply negative 4 and negative 6, I get positive 24. If I multiply negative 2 and positive 5, I get negative 10. So to get the last term in your standard trinomial down here, you multiply the numbers in your binomial. So think about what this pattern is going to let you do. Now that you've found this pattern, it's always x squared, you add to the middle, multiply to the end. If I gave you something like this, to get here, you would just have to come up with two numbers, that the two numbers multiply to negative 10, and the same two numbers add to negative 3, such as negative 2 and positive 5. Okay, I'm going to do a big erase, hopefully, maybe, and then I'm going to scroll so we can kind of look down. I'm going to scroll a lot. I'm going to go way down, if it will let me. I'm going to go way down to the next, that we're going to flip over for right now. Flip the page over. Okay, here we go. We're going to apply that. So remember, we said, excuse me, we said, if it will let me do things, hello? Sorry, guys. It said that it's going to add up to the middle term and multiply to the end. So on number 1, you're going to want to find two numbers that will add to 5 and multiply to 6. This will not let me write. I'm sorry. There we go. Sorry. Okay, so you don't need to do it this way. This is just a habit I have. So I want two numbers that will add up to 5, and I got the 5 from here, and will multiply to 6, and I got the 6 from there. So I'm just going to go through and list the numbers that will work for 6. So if I'm multiplying to 6, 1 and 6 will get me 6. If I'm multiplying 2 times 3 will get me 6. Those are my only options. So now I have to think of which of these will add up to 5. And some of you would see, well, the 1 and the 6, if I change some signs, I could get a 5. 2 and 3, if they're both positive, 2 times 3 gets you 6. And then 2 plus 3 will get you 5. So once you've come up with your numbers, you put an x because of the variable, plus 2, and then another binomial, x plus 3. The order of these do not matter because you're multiplying. The signs do matter. They matter a great deal. To check this, you should be able to multiply it out really quickly and get the same thing that was in the question. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 2 times x is 2x. Sorry. And 2 times 3 is 6. If you simplify this, you're going to get 5x, and that's exactly what you wanted. There's your 6. There's your x squared. This is the factored form of that trinomial. Same information, written differently. Moving on to number 2. I want two numbers that will add up to 7, multiply to 12. Pause and try it on your own. Numbers that will multiply to 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. They all multiply to 12. 3 and 4 are the only ones that will add to 7. So my answer is going to be x plus 3 times the quantity x plus 4. That's my answer. Things get weird when the signs change, so kind of be ready for that. Same pattern. I want two numbers that will add to 10, negative 10, multiply to 16. So you can do this one together if you want. If you feel like you can do it, go for it. 16, well, 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 4 work. So I'm looking at these. 1 and 16 will not get me 10. 2 and 8 will get me 10. So let's see if we can do anything with the signs. If it's multiplying to a positive 16, the signs on these numbers both must be the same. So they're either both positive or both negative. If I wanted to add to a negative 10, they would have to both be negative. Negative 2 plus a negative 8 will give me negative 10. So my final answer here is x minus 2, x minus 8. Again, the order does not matter. If you put x minus 8 first, oh my gosh, and then made a huge mess of your paper, that's okay. Oh my gosh, so that's x take away 2, and then x take away 8. This pen is hating me today, I'm so sorry. Alright, number 4, try that on your own. Alright, I want numbers that will add up to negative 8. It will multiply to 7. Well, 1 and 7 is the only way to multiply to 7. If I want them to add to a negative number, they will both have to be negative in this case. So my final answer will be x take away 1, x take away 7. And I'm taking away because they were both negative. Okay, I'm going to try and scroll. Oh my gosh, evidently I'm going to make a huge mess. And then I'm going to scroll. Last time I scrolled, bad things happened, so just hold on. It's going to be the majority of your video just waiting for me to scroll. Huh? Okay, I'm going to try moving over. Okay. Here are different signs. So I want things that will add up to 5, positive 5 here, multiply to negative 6. Okay, so negative 6. I'm going to ignore the sign for a minute. I know it seems silly, but it helps, I think. 1 and 6 will get me 6 when I multiply. 2 and 3 will get me 6 when I multiply. 1 and 6, they add up to 7, but if I were to subtract, I would get 5. 2 and 3 also add up to 5. So I've got a lot of choices. Since it's multiplying to a negative, one of these will have to be positive and one of these are negative. If I did that with the 2 and the 3, it would be like I was subtracting. The difference, or subtract 2 and 3, is 1. So this is no good. 1 and 6. Well, if I want it to be a positive 5, I kind of want there to be more positives after I'm done adding than negatives. So I want a positive 6 and a negative 1 to leave me with positive 5. So my final answer is x minus 1, x plus 6. This one I want you to change. I don't like, it's not a good example. I want you to get rid of the x, please. Okay. So you want things that will add up. You ready for this? There's no x term. They're going to add up to 0. Multiply to -9. Mess with that for a little bit and come back. All right, if they're going to add up to 0, oh my goodness. If they're going to add up to 0, they must be the same number. So if they're going to add up to 0, you need to think of things that are the same number with different signs that will multiply to a -9. I'm sorry guys, this thing's frustrating me. -9. So 3 and 3 are the only way for that to happen. One will have to be positive, one will have to be negative. Remember, I got rid of this. So x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, I'm going to do the next two a little bit faster. So if you need to pause to try it yourself, please do. Add up to -1, multiply to -6. I'm going to multiply to a negative. These two numbers will have different signs. Therefore, I'm kind of subtracting in my head. When I subtract 2 and 3, I would definitely have a difference of 1. If I want a -1, that 3 is going to have to be the negative because it's kind of bigger than the 2. So my answer will be x plus 2, x minus 3. Whoops, that's not the 3. Okay, just to check, that is an ugly 3. X squared, 2x, take away 3x would be -1x. 2 times -3 is -6. I'm good. Sorry about that ugly 3. Last one. You want them to add up to -4, multiply to -12. Take a second, think about it. Like, pause it. Okay, 12, 1 and 12. That's definitely going to get me a 4. The difference is not 4 there. 2 and 6. Wait a minute. That'll get me a difference of 4. If I want my final answer to be negative, I want my larger number to be negative. There's other ways to think about that if that's not working for you. So my final answer here will be x plus 2, x minus 6. That's your answer. Okay, you have some homework to do. The sub should have it. Do me a favor, please, and on your homework, cross out number 8.